Hi guys, it's Natalie here, and I'm really excited to be able to show you a little fun technique to go with this new release stamp set from Uniquely Creative. This is a really lovely floral. It comes with this large sort of almost background floral piece, and then there's a smaller flower and a couple of leaves, and then there's a couple of sentiments here as well which say blessings and thankful. There are matching dies too, of course, but I am not using those ones today. Today I am simply going to use the stamps and some inks, and we're going to do this fun technique which I've shown on these two cards here already. I don't know what to call this, maybe a Venetian blind technique, where we're going to do some inking in these vertical lines to create this sort of ombre effect. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't have a name, but this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. Now, the way we're going to start is by stamping out all of the background floral pieces, and we're going to emboss them. You can see on this one I actually used a clear embossing, and for this one I used a gold glitter embossing. And so for the one I'm going to show you today, I'm actually going to use white. I don't know that it's going to make a lot of difference between the clear that I used on this, given that it's on a white background, and the white embossing. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. And then instead of using sort of this pink and red and yellow, or just the plain blue, this time I'm going to use a bit of a green gradient. So we're just going to mix it up a little bit. Now, the way that I start, as I said, is to stamp out all of the background images and emboss them. Now, I know you know how to do this part already, so I am just going to speed through this. Now, I've embossed all of that area, and the whole idea of that was to cover as much of the background as you could with the white embossing. So you want to try to leave as little gap as possible. And I failed to mention that in the stamp set there's also these one cute little ladybird in there. So that's really good to stamp in those little gaps that are left over there. Now, this is where the next technique comes into play. This is how we're going to create the Venetian blind inking. I have just wanted 4 colors across my card, but you obviously could create as many different lines as you like. So because I'm a little bit pedantic and I want all of those lines to be very, very even, I'm just going to mark it out here about where the sort of 3/4 line is, if you like. So as in quarter, half, 3/4, you know what I mean. So if I just do some little marks right at the top, and I'm going to do the same on the bottom as well. Now, those lines are just there as my guide to then place my dividing line. Now, this is literally just a scrap piece of paper, as is this, because we're about to get inky, and you can see this is what I've used for the last one as well. So you want something underneath it, and just this scrap piece of paper, and we're going to go in a sort of ombre order with these inks. And all I do then is use my piece of paper, so lining up the top dot to the bottom dot so that it's nice and straight. And I'm just going to hold it in place with my hands, and starting with the first color. And I'm using Catherine Pooler inks here because I really, really like how much ink you get and I'm using one of these sort of ink brushes. So I'm just going to load up the brush, and when I'm inking, I'm going to start on my scrap and then sweep across in that direction, so that the majority of the color, or the heaviness of the color, is going to start at the dividing line, and then it's going to sort of fade out. So I'm not trying to cover up the whole area here. I'm wanting to get it nice and heavy at the edge and then sort of fade it out. And that's why I'm starting by even working on the scrap piece of paper and then working my way towards the edge, but purposely not trying to get this other edge, if that makes sense. And that is it. That is our background created. Isn't it just sort of super cool, super fancy? And then all I'm going to do is just adhere that to a card base and then create a little sentiment banner from one of the sentiments in the stamp set and add some jewels, and it's done. So how easy is that? I hope you really enjoyed that technique, and that you give it a go and do something along the lines of this, as I have officially dubbed it, the Venetian blind technique. All right, thanks guys. See you later.